What's up, family? Listen, in this video, I'm going to talk about how fasting has helped my lupus journey significantly. And I want to um, preface with I'm not a doctor. I've had what was diagnosed to me lupus nephritis probably for probably a year and a half, 2 years now. Many of you guys know I had Guillain-Barré syndrome. That is an autoimmune disease or attack on your autoimmune system where your nerves are seen as the enemy by your immune system. And so instead of my body attacking its sickness, the sickness that's in me, whenever I get sick, or sometimes when um, it's triggered, it'll attack my nerves instead of the sickness. But I want to highlight the end of the year 2024. So probably I want to say late December, mid December, late December, during kind of like the holidays. I'm sorry, Thanksgiving time. Right before Thanksgiving, I got sick. My kids, I have two younger boys, right? I have an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old, and so they're always sick. They're always just they're in a whole nother world when it comes to like their immune system. They can drink water off the ground and be fine. My immune system's a little more sensitive, and so I got sick, just like flu-like symptoms. Lower back was hurting, very tired, and then probably for the next 3 weeks, those symptoms, although they weren't progressing, I began to get muscle weakness. And this one was unique because I had always, this was the second time I've experienced weakness after getting out of the hospital, but this time it was lasting longer. It was just like my balance was off, my eyesight was very, very sensitive. When I would walk, I would have to hold on to something or I wouldn't be able to like stand with balance. And so I talked to my rheumatologist. He increased my prednisone. If you have lupus, um, you know the 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 pros and cons of steroids and prednisone specifically, right? Um, Increased my prednisone to about 30 milligrams a day. That's a lot for me. I usually am on like 5 milligrams, just on maintenance level. And so he told me, hey, I need you to increase your prednisone, increase your microphenolate. And every time that happens, it's discouraging. I actually don't even really like talking to my doctor when I'm in a flare up because I know what he's going to say, what he's going to do. He's going to throw um, the medicine and the prescriptions. He's going to make it higher, and that's fine. But I've always been like the natural healthy guy, right? I've always wanted to find ways to be healthy, just like without even using medicine. And so I do take medicine every day, what's prescribed, but it is discouraging. It is a struggle. And so it's been like 3 weeks. I'm still struggling, still wrestling. It's daunting because I haven't had a trigger this long. And so my church, I'm a pastor at a church. You guys know that, or if you don't, you do now. And during the holiday season, things begin to get busier. But our church went through a time of fasting and prayer. And during going into that time, I'm like worried. I'm like, oh man, am I going to be able to even fast and pray? And part of me wanted to not do it. Part of me wanted to use my physical issues to keep me from fasting. And I'm so glad that I did not do it or that I did not listen to that first thought. And so I began to fast. I said, you know what, let me try just to do liquids. I had just the thought in mind, maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days. Then my wife was like, hey, I'm doing 7 days. I'm like, okay, let me try to shoot for 7 days and just liquid. First day was rough. Second day, rough. Second day was worse than the first. Just because your body's detoxing, your body's feeling these symptoms. But then I began to pray, and then I felt like I should look up what fasting does for the body. And I began to open up a whole new world of things that I didn't even really realize until this moment. Fasting is very beneficial for you, not just physically, not just spiritually, but both. So I began to just look into fasting when it comes to physical benefits. I've always looked at it through the lens of spiritually it's beneficial, but what's the benefits of fasting physically? So I began to realize after a certain amount of days, day 2, day 3, your body begins to go through the process of healing itself. Why? It's not spending so much energy on what it usually takes to digest food. And so now, as it's in rest recovery mode, it can go on the offense. It's not just surviving, it's beginning to figure out how to thrive. And so, first day hard, second day was difficult. Third day, I began to get a new sense of energy. I began to start thinking clearer, began to feel sharper in my mind, in my brain. And if anyone knows me, that is my number one goal, is to do whatever I can to be the sharpest mentally. And so I began and I continued on. And I didn't do just water, I did liquid, right? So I would do smoothies, I would make like apple juice, and then I would put fruit in it. I would juice still my celery. I usually juice like celery almost every day. It's very good for the immune system and for the nerves. I would add apples and lemon, and I began to see literally every day significant change in my symptoms, in my strength, in my eyes. My eyes weren't as sensitive to the light. It was all just the trigger of what I've had for the last 3 weeks, the trigger of lupus subsiding. And so I decided, oh wow, this is a hack. Like, eating healthy is very important. Making sure that you are hydrated is very important. But fasting, there's so many benefits. So I want to encourage you to look into the benefits of fasting, and I want you to try it. A lot of us think that if we don't have a meal from breakfast to dinner, we're gonna die. We're gonna pass away. But that's not true. Your body needs to be able to have rest and recovery, and when it does, it actually helps with healing itself. And so your immune system and the attack on your immune system, fasting can help kill that, destroy it. It just obliterates that autoimmune attack and flare. And so I want to encourage you, if you're looking into it, take that step. Try it out and see what happens. Let's go. If you have lupus or you've been diagnosed with it, let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you, or any autoimmune. We can beat this through right thinking, through right eating, and through fasting. Let's go!